Hello friends, Javad Nagda here from Finrizon Management Consulting, and today I have brought you an advanced level tutorial on how to create dynamic and interactive dashboards using a couple of very important formulas such as offset and choose. So let's get started. So we have this database of about 10 brands and 22 years for the different campaigns that these brands ran on Super Bowl challenge. And we have the details about those individual campaigns and 5 different matrices about those campaigns, like the length, estimated cost in millions, YouTube views, YouTube likes, and TV views. So let's see how we can create a dynamic dashboard out of that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a summarized table of by brand and by year review. And to do that, I'm going to copy these 2 columns right here. And I'm going to press Alt-AM to remove duplicates from each of these columns one by one. Continue with current selection, remove duplicates, and there you go. Next one, select this range, Alt-AM, continue with current selection, remove duplicate, and there we go, have it. And now I'm just going to move these brands into columns by paste special and transpose. There we go, we have it. And I need to create a little bit of space at the top, so I'll just do that. And now I'm going to create a drop-down list for users to choose their own metric of choice that they want to analyze. So by pressing Alt-AVV, I came into this data validation option, creating this list of 5 different metrics options available for users to choose from. And whichever one user chooses, the table below should display that. And so to do that, to make it work, I need to create a little bit of index of these measures. So I'm going to create that index right here by pressing Alt-ESV, paste special with a transpose, and assign a number to each of these. And now to capture user selection, I'm going to use a VLOOKUP function and check this out on this reference table to bring in the relevant index number that we are going to use in our choose function. And as you can see that it's working fine. So let's create our choose based aggregation function, which is going to be AVERAGEIFS, and the range that I want to average will be selected by the choose function, and the index for choose function is the one that I created right here in P1, locking that in. And then I need to provide those 5 different matrix ranges. So the first one is going to be this length, locking that in. The second one is going to be this estimated cost, locking that in. The third one, YouTube views, locking that in as well. And then next one is YouTube likes, locking that in. And finally, we have TV views, locking that in as well. So the choose function is done. And the next bit is about creating those criteria options. So the first one is years, locking that in. Locking that in. And then the criteria is right here. And we need to lock the column reference here, which is L. Next one is going to be our brand criteria, locking that in. And on the criteria, we need to lock the rows, so that's okay. And now we are done. The AVERAGEIFS function is done. The last argument is about if error. If there is an error, we need to return 0, and that's it. The formula is done. So we can just format it to a whole number, copy that range to the right, and then copy this entire row and paste it down below, and it looks pretty good. And now we can check if this is working, and it looks good. So as I change the metrics option from the user selection panel, the table is displaying the right kind of values accordingly. That was very simple. So now I'm going to add a couple of more sophistication to this by defining, let's say I want to create another one here, which is a brand comparison. I want to create a graph that allows users to choose 2 different brands and provides a comparison for those. So again, I want to create 2 different drop-down lists for brands, Alt-A, VV, list, and my brand options are right here as the header of this table. So I can select that, close. The first option is done. Now I want to create the same option for this brand 2 selection, and it looks pretty good. To add a bit of more sophistication, I'm going to define some conditional formatting, Alt-HLR. I'll go into new rule, use formula to determine which cells to format, and then I'll create this condition if this, keeping the row as fixed and column as relative, equals brand 1, for instance, this one, then I want to assign a specific color, let's say this one, a light shaded color, to reflect the selection in the table. And as you can see it in the background, it's working fine. I'm going to create another condition, another rule for conditional format. And this time, new rule, use formula, equals for the brand 2 selection as well, right? And it should be this first range, keeping again row reference as column reference as relative and row as fixed. And this time I'll refer it to brand 2 right here. And let's say I choose another color for this one, light blue. Okay, okay. And you can see it now that these 2 brands are being highlighted dynamically. So again, just to make it more relatable, I'll color these selection in the same format. And now I want to add this comparable graph. So I'm going to insert a line graph, an empty one, and then used name arrays by applying an offset function to feed into this graph. So to do that, I need to first add a couple of name ranges, Alt-MN, to bring in this name manager. My first name array will be brand 1, and the formula I'm going to use will be offset. My starting point will always be this one right here, and the number of rows I want to shift will be 0, and the number of columns I want to shift will be determined by a match function, which will refer to brand 1 from the user selection, and will search for it in this headers array. And finally, it will be an exact match. Then I already know that the number of rows are fixed, 22, so I'm going to select that. And then finally, the column needs to be only 1, and that's it. We're done. Now I'm going to copy this formula to add brand 2. As you can see, it's selecting the right array. And now I'm copying this named array, add another one, name it brand 2, paste the formula, press F2, enter the formula edit mode, and now change this match reference to brand 2 this time around. Let's say this one, and that's it. We're done. So brand 2 and brand 1 both are working fine. I think there is a bit of selection issue. I need to correct this in the name manager. It should have been, yeah, it should be less 1. I want to edit the same thing in brand 2. It should be less 1. Uh-oh, cancel that. Come back again, and less 1. So this looks fine now. Check that in, and yes, it's fine. So now we can add these ranges into our graph below to complete our dynamic dashboard. So select data. My first series is going to be brand 1, and the series reference is going to be my name range, which is brand 1 as well. So there we go. We have the first series right here, and now we can edit the labels, which are yours right here. Select that. Okay, and we're good. Just add another series, which is going to be brand 2 this time around, right here, and brand 2 named array. Okay, and last thing is going to be defining the x-axis label for which are here again for the second series, and there you go, we have it. And now I'm not going to spend time on making the formattings, but our dynamic dashboard is right here ready. The user can choose their two comparable brands right here. For instance, if I'm a car manufacturer, I might want to analyze Toyota with Hyundai, and also choose my measures which I want to analyze. For instance, the length of ads, I can select that, and the graph is displaying exactly that. So hopefully you like that, and if you do so, please like and subscribe to our channel to keep on receiving more important and relevant information. We'll be writing you back shortly. Have fun. Allah Hafiz.